Hi everyone, welcome to Share and Review. And today we're going to take a look at Mercury Energy. Before I do, it's that normal housekeeping that this is for educational purposes only. No way is it intended for personalised financial advice. That you do need to go and talk to your own financial advisor. Right, let's share my screen. Okay, I've got Mercury Energy up here on the screen and I've got it over the 5-year chart just so that way it gives me a weekly range as to what's been happening. And you can see here that the last 2 weeks in a row have been down weeks for Mercury Energy. You can see a little D here as well, which signals that they have gone ex-dividend. And what you quite often find just looking at a lot of shares, so back here when they did announce the dividend back in September, you see that there were 2 down weeks and then the market did recover. And the same here back in November 2024. That is quite common for a share, if you like, to go down for a week, usually around the time that it goes ex-dividend. And the reason for that is there are people there that like to collect the dividend and then sell that share immediately after it goes ex-dividend. And generally it's not set in stone, but generally the share will quite often fall by about 1.5 times the dividend payout. So, for example, if it was a 50-cent dividend, you could expect that the share might fall about 75 cents. Okay, it's not set in stone, like I just said. However, it is an indicator if you are looking at perhaps purchasing that particular share, or any share or anything like that, as after it pays out a dividend. But looking at Mercury, two down weeks in a row. The week before, so the end of February, there was a lot of volume there, which is quite concerning for a share when it does trade down. Not so much volume last week, even though there was quite a bit of selling. Let's take a look over the 1 year, only because it brings up a weekly a daily view on what's happening. And to me, just casting my eye over this without even putting any moving averages on, this share is potentially in a downward trend. Okay, and if you look here, we have got nine days out of 11 where Mercury Energy has actually had downward days. Okay, so that can be quite concerning. Let's go back and have a look at the 5 years because it brings it up over weekly. Now let's just get an idea as to the overall trend of this particular share. And in order to do that, I tend to use a 200 moving average, again exponential, and it's a very slow moving average, but it tends to give you the overall picture of what's happening. Because as you can see, just by looking at Mercury Energy, it looks like it's in a range-bound market. It hasn't really gone anywhere since basically April 2021. It tended to hit a high point around there, stayed there for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then we've just seen it meandering along, really. But look at this. On the 200-week moving average, you can see that last week's candle actually closed below that, which could indicate that this share is actually on a longward downturn. Whether that actually plays out or not, I don't actually know. No one can tell you that, only the power of hindsight. So that to me is something to be cautious about. Let's change this moving average and we will make it a 30, just like I do for all of my shares when we're looking at them. And as you can see, they're definitely below that 30-week moving average. I will also put on the 15 because I always like to combine those 2 moving averages, and it just for me helps paint a stronger picture as to perhaps what is happening with this particular share that we're looking at. Right, and you can see here that the 15-week moving average has closed below the 30-week moving average, and that sort of crossed, you can see it sort of went sideways really from probably about the end of October last year and was trading together with the 30-week moving average and definitely fell through middle of February this year. And now that because that 15-week moving average is trading below the 30, this for me is a definite red flag. I would not be entering into this share just for that very reason. And if you watched Tuesday's recording where we did a big overview of the main indices being the NZX 50, I explained in that basically if a share is trading below its moving averages, that is where a lot of bad stuff can potentially happen, because shares can fall all the way to zero. And I have personally experienced that myself until I learnt to use trailing stops. So that is a very good tool to use, and I do talk about it regularly, is using trailing stops to protect your capital. Hey, a share might hit that, take you out of the market, and then go on to rebound. I've had that happen before. But remember, it's not terminal. If the share is going to continue going up, you can always enter again. But if you ride a share all the way down to zero, you can't play. There's no more capital left, and you can't play the game by investing into shares anymore. So that for me is, like I just said, going back to Mercury Energy, that is something that is definitely a red flag. We'll take these moving averages off and just get an idea as to how it is performing against the main indices, being the NZSX 50. And whilst it is, when I zoom in, it is trading a little bit above it. But that is quite a positive sign, the fact that it is trading above the main board, but it is certainly dragging it down. And you can even see by looking at this red line under here that the main board is trending down. And I covered that off on Tuesday's meeting as well. So we'll stop that there. Like I just said, Mercury Energy is certainly not something that I would want to be investing in at this stage. Hey, could change in the future, who knows? But keep those comments coming. I do read all of them and respond to them. And I do like it when you let me know if there's a share that you would like me to review. So until then, have a great week. Thank you.